Welcome to my review of The Amazing Spider-Man 1 and The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Hold on. There we go. Well, man, what a journey it's been through. What a journey. You know, when I thought of this last month, I thought maybe I could review Spider-Man movies leading up to No Way. Horrible. But then I decided, you know what, because No Way Home is going to be maybe the worst superhero movie of all time, I decided to just do Spider-Man Homecoming and Far From Home. That way I don't have to worry about the others. But then I decided, well, I'll just finish it because apparently I'm not going to see a movie until March because it's coming out on DVD and Blu-ray. Maybe that's when I could give my thoughts on the movie, saying all the horrible stuff about No Way Home. I have not yet seen it, so. And besides, I don't really care for No Way Home, but just letting you know, I have not yet seen it. Yeah. So let's get started. The Amazing Spider-Man 1. Now, I love this movie. I loved it. Easily the best Spider-Man movie ever made. What I enjoyed most about The Amazing Spider-Man is that it generally feels like a real Spider-Man. This one is more realistic. Yes, you could say the Maguire films were realistic, but to me, this one feels more realistic. Let's start with the positives. Peter Parker as a character is so much better. Sorry, it's my chair. Sorry, I typically record with, right now I'm sitting on a wheelchair, whatever you call them, because, I have to record, but, sorry. Peter Parker, to me, is a very likable character. Unlike in the comics, where, he's just Batman and Flash, this one actually makes more sense, and it actually works better for me. It doesn't feel like it's Batman and Flash. It generally makes you feel like, man, this really feels like a different version of Spider-Man, which makes sense. And it's one of the few reasons I'm not a Spider-Man fan from the comics. It's too much like Batman and Flash. Which is kind of surprising, which really shouldn't be surprising considering the works are constantly put up against Spidey's works. Batman villains versus Spider-Man villains. More often than not, that's more likely. But then you also have like Flash villains versus Spider-Man villains. Anyways, let's get back on track. I thought the relation between Peter and Gwen actually makes sense. In the movie, Spider-Man, wants to be with Gwen. But at the same time, he also has to look at his duties as Spider-Man. That is something I really like in the movie. The dynamic between Peter and Spider-Man. How Peter's always wondering, can he really be Spider-Man and be a hero and be with friends and like Gwen at the same time? That's when you realize he just can't. And that's kind of where the Lizard comes in. The Lizard's arguably the best villain here in the Spider-Man movies. I'm not even a fan of Lizard from the comics anyway, so in the comics, Lizard is not a great villain. I prefer this version more from the comics. The Lizard CGI is surprisingly great, even to this day. Even when you look at like fight scenes, it looks realistic. It looks like it looks really cool and it looks really good. Like comparing that to Mysterio as Illusions in Far From Home, it's insane how bad Far From Home's CGI looks compared to Amazing Spider-Man 1. Yeah. And I like that they told more back the origin again. I know this is a problem with a lot of people, but it's never a problem with me. I mean, if you're gonna do a reboot, you have to give the character an origin. You can't just pop, boom, he's Spider Man. Like, that's what the MCU did, and they completely ruined the character because then you no longer give your character development that you technically need the character to do. When you give your character no development, how do you expect people to like him? How do you I wanted some development, yet he never got any of that. So what is my grade for the Amazing Spider-Man 1? I'm gonna give it an A. An A is basically an A plus. On to Amazing Spider-Man 2. Now, I do agree it's definitely the worst of the Mark Webb or the Amazing or the Andrew Garfield movies, but I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's that bad. It definitely has its problems. I'm not gonna lie, it has some problems. Um, let's get started. Um, I think my biggest problem with Amazing Spider-Man 2 is just that maybe just the character of Gwen Stacy. It's just that they didn't know what really to do with her. Um, sometimes they were like, you know what, we'll just have her get killed by Green Goblin like it does in the comics, or we're gonna have her where she works up with Peter. They kind of constantly change her character, which makes her more unlikable. But aside from that, Amazing Spider-Man 2 is a decent to meh movie. I'd say it's more watchable than the Tom Holland movie, so let's get started. I want to talk some of the pros for Amazing Spider-Man 2. The CGI is great. I really like the CGI. It makes sense because it's Electro. Electro is a great villain here. I like him more in this than he is in the comics. Not sure if you guys can hear me, but I'm not. But I don't know. I'm not just feeling. I'm not feeling very well. I'm not sure. I don't know how this will go out. I hope it goes out well. Um, Green Goblin also was nice to see. Um, Judging from the No Way Home trailers, I prefer this Green Goblin over that Green Goblin. I'm not gonna. Yeah, basing on the No Way Home trailers, based on those trailers alone, I enjoy this Green Goblin more than I will enjoy that one. I haven't seen No Way Home yet, so. Now, I will admit, Rhino is definitely the worst out of the three, but I mean, I mean, in the comics, I mean, I don't know how to say, but I mean, I've never really expected Rhino to be a main villain. I don't know why so many people thought, oh yeah, we're gonna get Rhino as a main villain. You know, if you actually read the comics, whenever Rhino's a main villain, he gets destroyed really easily. He only works as a main villain if he was part of a main villain group. Like Spectacular Spider-Man, that group therapy episode where, Sinister Six, Rhino was one of the main villains, but that's because he's part of a group, and Sinister Six were the main villains. Um, so my overall score or grade, I'm gonna give it an E or a B. An E is basically a B. I really wish Sony give us a Amazing Spider-Man 3, which according to some rumors is gonna happen, which I can't wait for. I think we deserve an Amazing Spider-Man 3, and also Spider-Man 4. What we don't deserve is the Tom Holland Spider-Man new movies coming out, which we don't deserve those. Let's be honest, we don't deserve those. Toby and Andrew deserve more movies. These definitely more movies. But what do you all think? But what do you think of these movies? Do you like them? Do you hate them? Let me know in the comments. And as always, I'll see you next time. Good.